So Jeff, you guys have had a lot of challenging offenses you faced this year. Where is Texas Tech in that rate?
Right up there at the top, 100%. They're an efficient unit. They know what they're doing. They believe in their system. They formation you. They tempo you. They use the field all the way across. You got to defend all 53 yards across, and they take their vertical game. They have an elite running back, as you guys know, that we've played for a long time now. I feel like he's 40 years old. But he's a very good football player, and their line has gotten better and better every single year. And they have big play receivers and a quarterback that makes it all roll. So they're a challenge.
Who do they remind you of? Anybody you faced this year, or are they a little different?
I think they're kind of their own. They're their own entity. I really believe that. I think they're talented on the outside. I think that over the time of the season, you can see they've kind of, it's been the same offense all the way through, but they've found their identity as it has gone, and they've made adjustments from week to week. Obviously, they're not undefeated. They've had some tough games, just like many people have, but you can see how they've progressed out of those learning experiences.
What are the unique difficulties that a tempo team presents to a defense?
Well, it's just communication. They're trying to get you off balance. You got to get a call in. They can get their call in, and they're trying to get it in faster than you can get yours in. And if they can change the math pre-snap and make you work, that's what they're trying to do. And especially if they can find an automatic or a master check or something like that, and they know they kind of have you. So obviously you want to eliminate that. You want to not be predictable, and at the same time you want to make sure you got 11 guys facing the line of scrimmage and the ball snap.
No matter how well they throw, it still comes down to stopping the run first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything we do is stopping the run, and if we can do that, it'll give us a chance. Stop the run, eliminate explosives or limit explosives as much as possible, and that's what it all comes down to. And that's when they can get their routine going. Is if Brooks is getting hot and he's getting good chunk yardage, and even if he doesn't break the long one, if he can get hot, get chunk yardage, get him in second and manageable, get him in third and shorts. I mean, that's when they get really, really good.
Coach Brown talked about that he thought the secondary had their best day of coverage in a while. Is that something that you agree with? And then second of all, like he talked about, totally different animal with Texas Tech. So from what you can give us, what has to change? What do you expect? Are you confident that you can take UCF into a solid coverage day against Texas Tech?
Yeah, I would agree. I thought the guys played really well in the back end on Saturday. I thought they had a good day. I thought they managed down in distance. They managed what they were expecting playing Central Florida. And when we got into certain situations and field zones, I thought they did a nice job of defending and matching and understanding when they were taking shots, when they were working double moves. We had one mishap on a double move that we would love to have back. But other than that, I thought the guys definitely played well on Saturday. And then moving into this week, you want to build off a positive. Everything that we talk about is building off a positive. And we had 10 possessions in that game on Saturday. 7 of them were successful, and the coverage was a huge part of that. And that really showed up on third down. And I thought that was fun to see, and some one-on-one matchups where guys were able to win.
That you've gotten a rhythm as a play caller more? I mean, now that you've done it with 3-4 games?
Yeah, I do. I think there's going back to the very first game of Cincinnati, one question I was asked was just the operation of the day and the interaction with the coaches, and I think that's universal for the whole staff on defense. When we're on the headsets in between series and during a drive, and the interaction and the communication that we're having, and then how we're filtering that down to the players. I think every week that's gotten more and more, efficient and productive. And I think Saturday, I thought that the kids did a great job of getting lined up. I think we had 4 out of 54 plays that I thought that we weren't exactly how we'd like to be pre-snap. 2 of those on the last drive, which hindsight, I would have asked for a timeout right there. We had 3, and they got us in some tempo stuff into the boundary, away from our bench. We couldn't sub, so we could have used one there. So that's something that I've learned from going back and evaluating the game. But I do think there's a rhythm to it, and I think our kids have felt that, and our coaches have felt that.
Question I'm asking everyone now. So the Thanksgiving food. Thanksgiving memory for your coach's kid. So what was Thanksgiving like growing up for you, and then your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Yeah, growing up, it was weird. My dad was a high school coach and had coached in junior college. And usually their seasons were done just because he was in New York State, so they kind of hurried through the playoffs before the weather got bad. So the old playing on Thanksgiving wasn't as much of a deal. I remember the old, family Thanksgiving meals and going to family house. And then when I got married, my wife, she does Thanksgiving like all out, and that's her family. But it's kind of how she was raised. So she usually cooks for the entire city of Morgantown. We'll have leftovers for 3 weeks, but it's delicious, obviously. And so no, I think both memories in the past and memories of the current. It's a lot of it does revolve around food for sure.
So what does she do best, food-wise?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot right
Yeah.
there. All of
Get you in
it,
trouble.
all of it, all of it's amazing. No, it's amazing. Casseroles, the turkey itself, how she does it in the brine and all it's really good.
You mentioned some of the challenges in getting lined up correctly, getting your calls in, where you are on the field, all those kind of things. How much time do you actually have from the end of a play? Do you think it gets Texas Tech to consider all those factors and say, okay, we're subbing, we're not, here's the play call, signal it in? And then secondly, does that affect you saying, hey, we just got to go base here because we got to get lined up and not be,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're going to limit your substitutions 100%. Now, obviously something that, through the rules, if they substitute, they allow you to substitute. So we're always going to take advantage of that whenever we can. If they don't allow you to substitute, we're going to be prepared to play the entire series with our conditioning, with our mindset. That's never going to affect us in our heads, and we're going to approach the week like that, like we do every week. And the thing about it is they play at a very, very high rate, but every team we've played this year at times is able to do the exact same thing. No different than our offense and what we see at practice every day. And this is something that we practice against year-round. So I feel like our guys are going to be prepared for that. But to go back to the initial part of the question, usually you're going to have 3 to 4 seconds to really see where you're at. And then that's also why starting a possession strong is really important. If you can be good on the first play of the drive on possession and 10, and now you're second and long, well, they might go tempo, but if it doesn't work, well, now it's third and long, and it took 30 seconds to get there. And that's how you steal possessions, and, you can win that. You can stay ahead. So you got to look at that as an advantage. And if we can do a great job on P and 10 of stopping the run and getting lined up and stopping what they're trying to do to affect us to get us into second and long, that's got to be the positive. And that's something that we did a great job of on Saturday is, our P and 10 numbers actually weren't great, but our second down numbers were the best they've been in a long, long time. So we played way more third and longs, therefore we went 6 out of 9 success rate on third down. So it's all how the game plays out. But I think tempo, all those things we're talking about, and the guys understanding that is huge.
Jeff, they have, I think, more conversions on third down than anybody, maybe more attempts too, but their rate's really high. It's quite a combination.
Yeah.
I know some that say they have a lot of snaps, but just
They have a ton of, yeah.
But to be that efficient too, is there a formula for why they've been so successful?
Well, I do think part of it is just the sheer amount of attempts they have because they've played so many plays. You know what I'm saying? And they create more possessions per game. We had the number of 10 in the game on Saturday. Like, that was our number. We had 10 opportunities, you know what I mean? And now, we're playing this game. We've got 12 to 13 opportunities just because of how they play. So now it's how many times can we reset in between a drive? How many times can we go out and play a new game on every single possession? So they create that. Therefore, they're going to have more third down opportunities. And then, like I said, when they've got an elite running back the way they do, if they can get their running game going and then they're in that third and short, third and medium, and they're just able to crank that thing out, well, now they have a drive that goes 10, 12, 14 plays, and they converted 4 third downs. Those numbers go up really, really fast. So, and that's part of that's why they do what they do. The more opportunities, the more points they can score.
Very different mentality in terms of play calling or anything like that early in a game with a team that tries to start out so quick, they want to hang points real fast, just for the fact that obviously you have different plays, depending on how things unfold.
Mm-hmm.
But going in, it's going to be a certain way with this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think every game you want to start fast, and I know that's something that they really pride themselves on is starting fast. I think they were up 14-0 on Saturday, quick, and that's how they want to play. Well, you want to combat that. You want to do what we did. We were up 14-0, and it was because, hey, we went out there first, and we had to stop. We scored, and then we got to take away. We scored, and, you know, that's how you always want to start a game. So how you start, how you play in the middle, and how you finish is huge, you know. So, but you can't get to the second two without being really good at the first one, and that's what we want to do, you know.
That was a little weird, though. You guys started with the ball in the second half instead of the last, 17, 18 weeks.
Yeah, no, it was great, and they did a great job of scoring on that first drive. And then I was proud of our guys. We go out the very next, you know, when we touch the field for the first time, and we get a stop, and it was good complimentary football for sure.
Okay, anything else for Coach?
Like Neil talks a lot about his script on offense and just how he tries to get stuff going, and it usually works too. Can you do that on defense? Can you try to? Okay, you can.
Absolutely.
Is it the same?
Absolutely. Yep.
Can you share a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you know, everything you do on defense, you know, it goes back to what you said. You're going to have so many P and 10s. You're going to have so many third downs. Now, all the plays in the middle is kind of the flow of the game. You know what I mean? But you want to be very, very smart on third down, on P and 10, on what you're showing, what you're setting up. Same thing, you know, when you get to third down, what have you shown? What have you set up? And what has been successful? You know, what do you think you might have an advantage on schematically right now that maybe they're not adjusting to as quickly as you thought they would have? So as you go through and you game plan, it's no different than an offensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator is trying to set up certain looks, whether that's fronts, whether that's coverage, whether that's disguises. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think our guys have done a really good job over the course of the season of building into that and buying into that.
Same note, was it weird starting the game on defense Saturday? Did that throw any script out the window at all?
No, I mean, your first possession's your first possession. It was kind of weird, you know, hearing that kickoff return was up first, you know, but it's kind of surprising because I'm not even looking at the coin toss. I'm focused on something completely different at the time, so I was probably a little surprised. But no, I thought it was an awesome. Like I said, it was great to see the guys because no one expects that just because of the way the last how many games was it? I can't remember in a row. How many? 18, 17 in a row. So nobody expects that, but nobody batted an eye. And that was cool. That was fun to watch for our guys.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Yep, thank you all.